do you think?
How do you do?
Hello. I think we found your cozy spot, Bean. Hello, everyone. These are going to be the ins of the last quarter of 2025, so October, November, December, and then the outs from the entire year. They didn't quite fit in the last video, so I am going to put them in here. I will do those at the end, though. I do have one holdover that I somehow did not get included in the other video, and that was Spy Family Volume 14. I'm not quite sure when this came in. It's probably August or September would be my guess. And probably September. I think probably early September, because we went to Barnes & Noble, I think over Labor Day weekend is when we did that. Let's go ahead and get into October. I have my super sophisticated handy dandy notes, you know, going real technical, top of the line. In October, I had 6 books come in. Of those 6, 2 were from subscriptions. 3 were special editions, so from a book box, but not part of the regular subscription. And then 1 was a sequel. I had The Isle in the Silver Sea. This is the Illumicrate pick. Alchemy of Secrets. This is the Fairy Loot adult pick. For special editions, I had Sword Heart and Hemlock and Silver come in for the T. Kingfisher works that Broken Binding has been releasing. I got The Executioners 3 by Susan Dennard. I don't know how you say that. This is from Illumicrate. They've done one of her books in the subscription that I really enjoyed. So when I saw that they were doing this one, I was like, oh, that sounds great. The sequel is The Art of Legend. I think this is a collaboration between Broken Binding and Daphne Press. Luckily, short and sweet to start off with. For November, I had 9 books come in. 5 were subscriptions, and the remaining 4 were sequels. So since they're on top, we'll just run through the sequels really quick. So first, I had Mate. This is the sequel to Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I don't know if this is like a sequel, but they're like vaguely interconnected. A true sequel is The Blackfire Blade. This is from Broken Binding. And then another interconnected sequel is Love at First Fright. I accidentally got the Afterlight version of this when I had originally ordered the Fairy Loot. I'm glad that I got it because they haven't announced the Fairy Loot edition of it, if they're going to. For subscriptions, we had Thorn Season. This is actually the October YA from Fairy Loot. It just arrived in November. A Rather Vengeful Accord. This is the Illumicrate pick. Fallen City. This is the Adrienne Young book that they did for the Fairy Loot adult. Seven Deadly Thorns is the Fairy Loot YA. And then Kings of the Wild, which is book 1 of the band that Broken Binding did for November, December books. A thing that I was really excited about, I think it might have been 1 October, 1 November box. Maybe it was both November. I got a puzzle from Fairy Loot and then also a puzzle from Illumicrate. I love a good puzzle. I haven't done one in a while, but I do love them. And then December. And we have December. And this is where it all gets unhinged. Comes unglued at the seams. Unstitched, unglued, just all unravels. I have this stack working behind me. So 4 subscriptions. I have Dawn of the Firebird. This is the Fairy Loot Adult from December. Bloody Rose, which is book 2 of the band from Broken Binding. And they included this really cool trading card. There we go. So they do bookmarks, but like super cool that they're adding like just like a small format artwork. Coldwire by Chloe Gong. This was the Fairy Loot YA. Can I just tell you how much I like this cover? Like, it's so much better than the like neon bachelorette party vibe of the original cover. Like, I think it's on like, what is this? This is a different colorway, and like, sure, there's a city behind it, but like, you can't tell. If you're just looking from far away, you can't tell. I can't tell. Just looks like streamers or something. I think this is so much better. From Illumicrate, we have The Bookshop Below. I actually read this as an ARC earlier this year and loved it. So I was really glad that I was going to be getting a special edition of it. I really like what they've done with the art and everything. So well done, Illumicrate. I had 2 special editions that I ordered during a Black Friday sale. So it's Whiskey Business and Scotch on the Rocks by Elliot Fletcher. And these are from LitJoy Crate. We have 2 sequels, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and then Once a Villain. I think this is actually the only true sequel. So this is a sequel from a subscription book, and all of the rest are sequels for special edition books. So we're going to start getting into some of the higher numbers of things. First, I'm going to talk about the gifted books that we received, because a couple of them were like joint gifts for my husband and I. So first, we have Natural Wonders of the World. This was a gift from Damien's mom. She picked it up for us, and it's like really cool. It's like a nice big coffee table book. Like, there's like maps and like a bunch of pictures, and it's kind of like a giant atlas for like natural wonders. The other one that is like sort of joint is Spy Family Volume 15. This is one that Damien and I will both read, so it was for me technically, but he will also read it. And then my mother-in-law picked up the Jane Austen set. So these are like embossed, and they have like the word clouds on the front and the back. And then they have these really pretty edges. There's like, it's like very floral, and like it continues on the top and bottom. And my brother sent me the deluxe new slipcase edition of Red Rising for Christmas. Damien got me the Art of Heaven Official's Blessing big art book. Oh my gosh. It also comes like it has a slipcase, has a die cut in there, and then there are several postcards, I think a poster, like a mini poster, like a reversible bookmark or something like that were included as part of this edition of it. The last book that I was gifted is Spooky Lakes. I don't know if you guys have seen this series on TikTok. She does also post them on Instagram, but I first saw it on TikTok. It's awesome. And she did all of the art herself. So like, this is all like hand painted. She's also coming out with Spooky Rivers, I think sometime next year. And Spooky Lake Month is in October of every year. I'm happy to finally have a copy on my shelves. And then here's where it gets probably a little unhinged. When I arrived at the store, I did think all of the hardbacks were going to be 50% off. Realized that was not the case after we got home. And traditionally I treat the Barnes & Noble hardback sale as like my big splurge on things like art books that are usually hardback and a little bit more expensive. I guess we'll just get into it. I don't think I actually said how many books came in December. That's my B. I do think we are operating with 44, which is by far the largest number of the year. Of the 44 in December, I had 4 subscription books, 2 special edition, 2 sequels, and then 11 gifted books. And the Out and About Barnes & Noble spree consists of 25 books. Starting off strong, we have Under the Oak Tree, the comic, volume 2. And then one of the art books is Japanese Tattoos, Meanings, Shapes, and Motifs. And then I found Poison, the history of potions, powders, and murderous practitioners. I was just looking through the history section. There had been a couple books that I had saved in the history section that I didn't end up finding, but I did find this. Picked up volume 9 of Lore Olympus, book 2 in the Runestone Saga, Bane of Asgard, and I have not read the first one, but Damien got me the first one in hardback, so I was like, you know what, since it's gonna be on sale, we'll go ahead and get it. I did also pick up a paperback copy of The Fury of the Gods. This is book 3 in the Bloodsworn Saga. I have not yet started book 2 because I think I will start book 2 and then immediately need book 3 after I finish. So I also picked up Best Wishes from the Full Moon Coffee Shop. I think this is like a Christmas sort of story related to the Full Moon Coffee Shop, which I read earlier this year and had a really fun time with. I also picked up volume 11 of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Princess of Blood. This is book 2 in the Shards of Magic series, Servant of Earth. That is the first one. Then I picked up River Secrets by Shannon Hale. So Goose Girl is one of my favorite fairy tales. I read Goose Girl in high school and I've read In a Burning. I don't have a copy of it. I didn't realize that there were more in the series. This follows one of the characters that is in, I think, Goose Girl. I don't know if he is also in a Burning. I suspect he might be, but this is like his story. Another one that I've been eyeballing for months, and I finally picked it up, and that is The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon. I also was finally able to get my hands on volume 1 of The Girl from the Other Side. Every time I'd been, they'd always had volume 2. Also in the history section, I got the Penguin Book of Witches. This is a manual for witch hunters, court documents from the Salem witch trials, newspaper coverage. And then I also picked up volumes 5, 6, 7. You know what? Let me put these up a little bit closer because they're beautiful. All right, so this is volume 5 of Heaven Official's Blessing, like the hardbacks. Yeah. Volume 6, we have this one. The edges here. And then volume 7. I picked up Always Remember. This is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse companion. So this is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, the Horse, and the Storm. I also picked up the Harper Muse edition of Pride and Prejudice. I have the copy of Persuasion in the same edition. And yes, I did get this even though I just got that other set from my mother-in-law because, like, look at this. And like, I don't know, you probably can't really tell from, you can sort of tell, I think. But it's like embossed a little on the front and has gilded edges and I think a ribbon bookmark. And this baby bean has fully embraced couch lounging. And he's very into it. He just, And then getting into the rest of the art books, we have Hokusai's Landscapes, Witch Hat Atelier art book, Apothecary Diaries art book, The Worlds of Jane Austen, influence and inspirations behind the novels. And this covers things like the Rectory, Revolution, Army and Navy, education, city versus countryside living, seaside living. There's a section on empire and slavery. I thought it'd be a really interesting read, and like potentially a really good companion to the rest of the Austen collection. And then closing out with some cuteness, because we need that. Those would be The Bakery Dragon. And then the sequel, The Bakery and the Fairy Dragon, or The Fairy Cake. And then another sequel was Night Owl and Early Bird. I have Night Owl. Certainly met my under 10 goals for October, November, and blew that way the hell out of the park in December. Not all of these are going on the TBR. I still need to get a list together of all of the unhaul books that have left my house this year. Once I have that compiled, I will add that to the end of this, and then we can talk about why I'm getting rid of some of these books. Look at this bean before you go. Look at him. Oh my gosh. Sorry if that was wobbly. All right, these are all of the books that left my house in 2025. From January to March, I had 13, 5 of which came off of the TBR. First, I had The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, Philosophy in the Boudoir by Marquis de Sade, Rebel Without Claws. This was an arc, and so it just went back to the used bookstore where I got it. We All Fall Down by Rose Sabo, I think. This Woven Kingdom and These Infinite Threads by, and All This Twisted Glory by Tahara Mafi, Babel, Sandman Volume 1, and Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, both by Neil Gaiman. The Loire Valley Castles, The Complete Book of Cacti and Succulents, and a coffee table book about Kyoto. 2 books that came off of my TBR but stayed in the house because Damien likes them were To Green Angel Tower Parts 1 and 2. They came off of my TBR and are now his problem. And then I don't think I did an outs for April to June. The ones that I have are basically from July through the rest of the year. Starting with Foxglove King and Hemlock Queen by Hannah Witten. This Spells Love, Shanghai Immortal, A Study in Drowning, Last Hour Between Worlds, Undermining of Twyla and Frank, The Jasad Heir, A Fate Inked in Blood, A Novel Love Story, A Tempest of Tea, Curse of Saints and Curse of Sins, The Sun and the Void, Son of Blood and Ruin, Black Sun, For the Wolf and For the Throne, Secrets of Common Sense Marketing, Beyond the Clouds, Volumes 1 through 5, Game Changer, Swashbucklers, and The Power, both from Damien, so they went back to Damien. A book about Chesty Puller, who is is well known in the Marine Corps. Twin Crowns, Ninth House, and then Marine Aviation in World War II, and a book about the night fighters, like night fighter aviation. And those two, the last two, went to my brother. So I also sold the These Hollow Vows duology, the Greenbone Saga, the full trilogy that was part of the Broken Binding subscription. Neither of us liked it. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 6, the Defy the Night trilogy, and I also sold a ton of items from book boxes that I didn't really want to keep. So I got rid of 51 books. So that wasn't like wildly high. I will list my Pango down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all next time. And I am going to be better about being back on track for quarterly videos for ins and outs. I will see y'all next time.